In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to edit like Fearless. And if you guys click the link in the description, you guys can access the free 20 presets I'm giving away. So to begin with, we will be starting off with this effect right here.
How about you ready up?
So as you guys can see, what Fearless typically does is he puts text all over the screen to keep it nice and engaging. So I'm going to show you how exactly I did this. And again, if you guys want the presets, they are linked in the description. So first things first, we are going to want to achieve the Fearless text looking style. So first things first, I'm going to type the first thing they say, which is how. And then just do Control A and go over to Effect Controls or Properties. And where it says text, change it to Tahoma. Now there's either Tahoma regular or regular bold. I'm pretty sure Fearless uses regular. However, personally, I prefer the look of bold. So I'm going to use bold. And then you want to go ahead to this align and make sure you click this one right here so it centers it. So every time you type, it goes from the center and it stays aligned rather than it going from the left or from the right. And then I'm going to go to the VA and change that to around -45. Now that is the text spacing, as you guys can see. So you can customize that to, however you like. I'm just going to go ahead and put this text in the center. So you can do that by holding Control, and then these grid lines will show up and it will just snap in place like so. If you guys are wanting to copy the exact same color that Fearless uses on text, I'm going to go ahead and put some color markers on screen right here. So you guys can pretty much go ahead and use the eyedropper tool and select this color or type in the code that is next to it. So personally, I'm going to do yellow and pink, as in my opinion, that's my favorite color combination from them. So we're just going to go ahead into fill, and I'm going to type in the codec for yellow and just click OK. And then next up, we need a shadow. So we're going to go to drop shadow and just enable that and set it to the pink. And as you guys can see, it doesn't look great right now. So if you go over to the bottom option right here in the shadow and just drop that all the way down, you guys can see it gets rid of the feather effect and it just makes it solid. And you can up the opacity to 100. If you want the distance to be less, then you can go ahead and set that however you want. Personally, I just leave it on default 7. Okay, so now we're going to want to go ahead and individually subtitle each word that I want to pop up separately. Also, if you want to expand your audio waves, you can just go ahead and hold down Alt and use the scroll wheel. And since I'm wanting all the text to stay on the screen while each animation happens, I'm just going to hold Alt and drag it up, which then duplicates the layer, and just go ahead and cut where the next word starts. And then I'm just going to type about, and as you can see, they're overlapping, but we're going to fix that in just a second. Okay, so now that we have each effect, you're just going to want to go ahead and select them all and go to effects, and you're going to want to go to the pack that I actually linked in the description. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is the preset pack right here, Fearless Preset Pack 2.0. I'm just going to go ahead and select all but the last two that says ready up, and I'm just going to select these three and do bounce in. And as you can see, it still overlaps like this.
How about you ready up?
But for ready up, I'm going to add the epic spin in, which looks like this. Now, there's two ways you can either do this depending how you want the animation to look. So typically, if I just go ahead and disable all these a second, if I move this how to like over here, the animation is going to come from the right into the center. And the reason for that is because typically if you use the transform effect, you have to set that anchor point to be where the text is coming in rather than it coming from the center. And I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. Otherwise, it will look like that once the anchor point is correct. So if you would prefer the animation to look like that, which I did for the intro, just as I thought it looked better, then you can just do it this way. If you want to move each text after adding the animations without it affecting the animations, just go ahead and drop down to video and do motion. So not graphics motion, video motion. And then you can just go ahead and move it. And as you can see, the animation still stays exactly how it was in the center. So then you can just go ahead and move each one to how you like it, pretty much, with the animation still appearing the same. And you can see, so it goes like that. However, like I said, for me personally, for this video I actually just moved the text as I thought the animation looked better coming in from the right. So I'm going to do that, but obviously it depends on the scene you are doing and the project. Like, there are so many presets in here, guys, that you can test out. There's a slide in left to right, a slide right to left, epic spin in, epic zoom out, bounce in, lag. Like, there's a whole lot you guys can use. For ready up, like I said, I used a little spin effect, but I actually want the text to be quite big. So I'm going to up the scale just by grabbing this corner here and dragging it up. And I'm going to add a little bit of rotation again by just going to a corner, and you can just rotate it like that. And then one up to be even bigger. Okay, so it's going to look something like this.
How about you ready up?
So this is kind of the Fearless style. Fearless just kind of likes going overboard with text animations, sound effects, everything like that. Obviously right now I know that it sounds quite bland. Next up I'm going to go ahead and add some music. So personally I'm using the song Maniacs of Noise Happy Hates Christmas 1999 version.
How about you ready up?
Which just sounds exactly like this. Just as it's kind of like a little comedy intro, it's nothing serious.
How about you ready up?
So then this is the next part of the video we will be achieving. So the way I achieved this is, again, just using the exact same bouncing effect that I previously showed you guys, except I kept it in the center, so that's why the animation looks that way. So I'm not going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that again because I just showed you guys. However, I did change the text color. So I just did this by selecting all of the text after I typed it out and went to properties and changed the fill from, the yellow we used, which was like pale yellow, and I just set it to white. That way you can distinct who each speaker is. However, what we do want to achieve is this little shake effect right here. which is actually really simple. It's just s_shake, which is a Sapphire plugin. If you guys don't have Sapphire, there is a way to achieve it with Transform, except it's just a very long process. So I recommend looking how to get Sapphire. Obviously, you know, you can pay for it, or, you know, you can illegally crack it, but I wouldn't advise doing that. These are the settings I used. I set the amplitude to 0.05, frequency to 2, the phase to 0, Z-dis to 1, mobile length to 1, seed 0, wrap X and wrap Y. You want that as reflect, otherwise if it goes off the screen, it will just be black rather than it reflecting. X shake is 192 by 1 by 0 by 0.5. Y shake is 36 by 1 by 0 by 0.5, and Z shake is 0, 1, 0. And then channels is just 1, 1, 1. And blur mask is on 12. So obviously we're going to want to zoom in because this is what it originally looks like. You can just go ahead and click motion and then up the scale and move the positioning like this. You know, that's just a kind of simple way for it to cut in. I will show you guys another method you want to do if you want to do a little zoom in. Just go to effects and search transform, and it's this one right here. Just transform. I'm just gonna for a second disable this shake by clicking this FX, and the line goes through it. And I'm going to uncheck use composition shutter angle. You want to uncheck that and put the shutter angle to 360. This basically enables motion blur. I'll show you guys with and without. Now with gaming videos, you typically want kind of like fast zoom ins rather than like smooth zoom ins, if that makes sense. So just hold down shift and use the arrow key 1 to the right. That goes forward 5 frames. And then I'll maybe do like an extra 2. So it's 7 frames. And then just up the scale and move the position. So as you can see, that looks quite linear. And obviously this is it without motion blur. Like that just looks so unsmooth. So if you want to make this look a little bit smoother, you can either just do 5 keyframes if you want it to be a quick zoom in. But if you want to do 7 and make it look a bit smoother, hold the right 2 keyframes, right click, temporal interpolation, and do ease in. And then select the first 2, right click, temporal interpolation, ease out. Then drop down the scale and just move the bar all the way to the left. Same with position. And then it just makes it a little bit smoother. Again, if you want to do smooth zooms, which I typically don't do for gaming videos, you can just drag this out and move all these straight to the left. So on the position and the scale, and it looks like this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and enable the shake. Now, typically you need the shake above the transform, otherwise this is what happens, which is why I just advise moving it. And if you want to fix this red bar, because as you guys can see, if you use Sapphire, a red bar will happen. Just click the clip that the shake is on and click the backslash button next to your shift on the right. So just click that and press enter, and it will then go ahead and render it into out. And as you can see, you can now preview it with no lag. So I'll just go to the beginning, and this is what we have so far.
How about you ready up?
So this is the next part I'm going to show you guys how to do.
Let's go.
So that's kind of like a funny moments intro type thing. But as you guys can see here, it's a black and white effect, and he's like, all right, I'll ready up. So if we analyze this clip here, you guys can see there's a black and white effect with a the same rotating text, and then it cuts to like a bass boosted funny moments type bit. The way I achieve this black and white effect, if I just disable this text, is I just up the scale. I personally use 200, and then I just move the motion by holding control and scaling it onto the webcam. You can do even more zoom than you want. It's obviously just personal preference. Now to achieve this black and white effect, go to effects and search for tint and just drag and drop that on. And to achieve the all right, already up, again, just type the text in the middle and add this epic zoom in, epic spin in, as you guys can see. And then next up, use a riser called Riser Reverse, which is from Epidemic. So if you guys don't have Epidemic, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to use a different riser effect so you guys don't get copyrighted. And then the next song that I used is called More Plastic Razor Dubstep NCS. So to achieve the little fading effect that you guys can see right there, is I just got the part of the song where the bass boost happens. So as you guys can see, it's around the 50-second mark. Build up, bass drop. So obviously I want the funny moments part to drop in on the bass drop, if you guys just have a listen. So to do this, obviously I added a fade. So originally it's just like this. And obviously you want to fix the cutting out. So I did lower this by 10. Obviously I still had it quite loud though, because I liked it quite loud. You can just go ahead and hold this little fade button right here and drag it. So you can just hold it and drag it down. Obviously you don't want to do it like this, because that's just last minute. But if you just add a slight little ramp build up, it's then not so sudden. And then obviously on the way out as well, you want to fade out a song, but this one can be like a little bit more,
Let's go.
you know, strong of a curve. So then it will fade out in the next clip. To achieve this Fortnite funny moments, I'm going to go ahead and link a sound effects pack I used. And I used the DaBaby Yeah Yeah, and I merged the DaBaby Let's Go. And to make this kind of sound bass boosted, I upped it by 12, because originally it sounded like this. But if you up it by 12, you can see it's peaking, which is making it sound bass boosted.
Let's go.
And it kind of sounds like it's automatically merged together without me doing that.
Let's go.
Then I created a blue background and I added a vignette around it. So to do this, you can go to New, Color Matte, and choose your color. So I'm going to do this blue right here. This is the color codec. If you guys want to use it right there, click OK and then OK. Drag it on top right there. And this is what it looks like right now. Obviously, you guys can literally do any color. Like any color you guys want to do, you can do. You can do orange, like you can do yellow, you can do pink. You can do anything you want really. I just wouldn't advise you make it where it's overlapping on one of those colors. Then go to Lumetri color and go to vignette and just bring this down. And as you can see, there is now a vignette effect around it. And again, it's literally just the same text effect with the bounce in. That's all this is. So if you just add this on and in all caps just type Fortnite and then funny moments. And then I'm just going to bring the scale down, select them both, and then go to the Fearless pack and do bounce in.
Yeah, let's go.
How about you radio?
Let's go.
So that right there is how you can do an intro. Now, maybe if you want to change like up the effects, you can do the funny moment and then maybe add the lag effect. But yeah, there's so many effects you guys can go ahead and give a test. You know, they've got like waving and wiggle, tiny jumps, spin and slide, spin transitions, impacts, shadows. There's a whole lot for you guys to go ahead and check out and test on your own content. But that is going to conclude this tutorial right here. This kind of covered the text effects, music, sound effects, and kind of how to achieve a good high quality intro. If you guys want a part 2, let me know and I'll go into more detail on how to do more effects throughout the video. But as always, be sure to like and subscribe. And again, if you guys want to access the sound effects and everything like that, just go ahead and click the link in the description.